What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Wrestle Drop channel, and today we're looking at TNA Sacrifice 2025, which happened last night, Friday night, and a pretty decent show. I'm not gonna say this was the best show TNA has ever put on, but it was a pretty good show nonetheless. Like, there was nothing... Okay, let me not say there was nothing bad about the show, because there was one match I just did not enjoy, but the match overall was pretty decent. Let's put it that way. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the show. So, the pre-show is busy ending at this point, and the very first match actually starts as Sami Callihan and Mance Warner, who are in a street fight, start fighting it out at the back and work their way to the ring before the show even starts, which I liked. It was pretty cool. A nice way to start off the show. However, if you didn't watch the pre-show and you specifically came for the main show, you'd probably be wondering, what happened? Am I late? But that's small minor things. This was not my favorite match, because it's exactly what you'd expect from a Sami Callihan and Mance Warner match. Just silly gimmick stuffs in a hardcore match, you know? Like, we had things like staple guns, we had things like taking a poster from Sacrifice and using it to try and do like paper cuts on the in between the fingers and by the mouth. Was really stupid stuff in that sense. I mean, they both had staple guns at one point and were just stapling each other. I didn't find that very entertaining. I think Sami Callihan even stapled Mance Warner's tongue to the turnbuckle. They didn't show it, so I don't think he did. Like, they didn't show the actual tongue, so I don't think he did it. But it doesn't entertain me. I just find it silly. I find it over the top. I find it useless. How are you going to win a match stapling a guy? You're not going to win a match like that. You're not going to wear him down like a chop might. Yeah, just it's silly, really silly. I'm not really going to go into too much detail on this match, to be honest, but let's go towards the end, where Warner tries to stab Callihan with a screwdriver, but Callihan blocks it, and he lands a stunner for a near fall. Shortly after that, though, Callihan is like towards the rope side, where Steph DeLander, who is obviously in Mance Warner's corner, throws powder into Callihan's face, and that allows Warner to land a running knee strike and get the victory. Like I said, guys, this is not the type of pro wrestling I enjoy. I do enjoy hardcore matches as well. You know, that is not the issue. It's the type of hardcore matches. Like Toni Storm versus Mariah May, a recent match that I can think of that was a hardcore. You guys never saw my review because, quite frankly, the universe did not want it to come out, because firstly I was ill the day it happened, so I had to delay it by a day. Then when I recorded, I lost my audio. It was just so many issues. So unfortunately, that is one review that might not see the light of day. I'll eventually get round to it. But I did give Toni Storm and Mariah May 5 stars in that match. So what I'm trying to get at is, I can appreciate a hardcore match, but not one like this. It's slow. They do things just to pop the crowd. And in the end, you win with a running knee strike. Underwhelming. I gave it 2 stars. That might be generous, if I'm being honest. Not that their work was bad, but the type of match just doesn't work for me. We then had Tessa Blanchard versus Lei Ying Lee. Actually a really good match, and my women's match of the night out of the 3 women's matches. They start off with the elbow and collar tie-up, which Tessa gets the better of the exchange. Lee then fires back with a German suplex and 10 punches into the corner, which the crowd chants along to. Then Lee takes it to Tessa on the outside, but gets caught with a shot while climbing back into the ring. Tessa then has the advantage for the time being and just grinds down Lee for a little while. Then we got some Euro racist chants for Tessa Blanchard, which she did like this, the crying face too. And then those chants were met with "No, she's not" as well. So there were both sides to the Tessa Blanchard situation. No comment. But hey, apparently there's people that like Tessa and there's people that don't like Tessa in this whole situation. But that's interesting. Lee then fights back with big kicks, which is then followed by a fisherman suplex, which was quite a nice sequence. And then Lee hits an airplane spin and then slams Tessa to the mat and gets a near fall for her troubles. We then a huge top rope brainbuster by Lee, which should have been 3 counts, because the ref, she tucked her arm on the 3 so that it doesn't actually hit the mat. And Tessa kicked out a little bit late. She didn't forget to kick out. She was trying to do a very, very near fall, but she was a touch late. But anyway, the crowd wouldn't know any difference, if we're being honest. Awesome spots. That top rope brainbuster looked nasty. Really, really good stuff. Then eventually, though, Tessa lands a cutter, which she follows up with Magnum for the victory. And I wrote you, as much as Tessa Blanchard is not liked, she had another great match. What can we can't say anything about her work. We can say something about her character, who she is as a person. Sure, some people might want to say things. To me, I just see it. It is what it is. What can we do? What can we do? Sure, she's not well liked, but sure, she did wrong things. Definitely did wrong things. But what can we do? What can we do? You're just gonna hate the rest of your life. Maybe you don't want to see her as champion, which sure, I totally get that. And I might agree with that. Maybe she shouldn't be in a big company. I get that. I might agree with that. But at this point, what can we do? The match also didn't go for too long, which I kind of appreciate, because that it meant that they didn't have to stall, they didn't have to do silly things, they didn't have to go over the top. This ended well. Like, there was nothing that should have been the finish. Great match. 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. We then had Ace Austin and the Rascals taking on Zachary Wentz, Tyreek Igwe, and Tyson DuPont. Sorry, we had Ace Austin and the Rascals taking on Tyreek Igwe, Tyson DuPont, and Wes Lee. That sounds better. In a Lucha Rules 6-man tag. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what Lucha Rules is, basically it means you don't have to tag. You basically just roll out the ring, the next person comes in. Or you roll to the corner, the next person comes in. But it feels like they kind of got confused or stuck between a normal tag team match and a Lucha Rules match throughout this thing. There were sometimes they made tags, there were sometimes they didn't make tags. And, if this match was a normal tag team match, I wouldn't have known. Like, if there was no Lucha Rules stipulation added to it and commentary never mentioned it, I would not have known that this was a Lucha Rules 6-man tag match. That's unfortunate because it means they didn't play into the stipulation and it was just a standard 6-way match. This was chaotic as expected, to be honest. Not much else I can say about that. I mean, it's the Rascals, Wesley, and 2 big guys. Also, Ace Austin added to that. So it's going to be chaotic. There's a moment early in the match where the Rascals and Ace Austin go for a dive. Wesley gets taken out by Ace Austin. But then the 2 bigger men, Tyreek and Tyson, catch the Rascals, and then I think they slam them down. So they showed the level of power that these 2 guys have compared to everyone else in the match early on. I wrote you, it seems like they conflicted between a Lucha Rules and standard tag team match. The Rascals, though, eventually get their hands on Wesley and do some real damage to him, but he just won't quit at that point. We then get a double stomp to the back of the head of Trey Miguel, followed by a double team slam by Tyreek and Tyson, but he somehow kicks out. Incredible stuff, that. That was a really cool moment. After some back and forth action, though, Wesley eventually finds himself stuck in the ring with Rascals and Ace Austin all alone. And then he eats a lighting spiral and fold combo by Ace Austin and Trey Miguel, which is then followed by a spiral tap from Zachary Wentz for the victory. So the Rascals and Ace Austin get the victory. The match was decent, chaotic as expected. But I think the thing that really brought it down for me, I say brought it down, it was still some good action, but the thing that brought it down for me was the fact that they were conflicted between the type of match they were having. And they didn't use the rules to its fullest. 3.25 stars. As you can see, I still enjoyed the match. But I felt they had more gears. And I felt they could have gone to different levels. We then had Frankie Kazarian and Steve Macklin. And this felt like a good TV match. That's what this felt like. A good TV match. So, not on the level of what a pay-per-view should be, in my opinion. But I still gave it 3 stars nonetheless. Basically, some back and forth action between both men. We had Eric Young on commentary at ringside, because obviously he's trying to align himself with, or get Steve Macklin to align himself with him. And what happens is Kazarian grabs brass knuckles towards the end of the match, and he's looking to use it on Macklin. But obviously Eric Young's at ringside, and he sees this, stops him, grabs the knuckles. As Kazarian turns around, hits Kazarian in the back of the head, sends him in the ring. Macklin lands the KIA and gets the victory. Macklin was not aware of what Eric Young did, because he's obviously not trying to align himself with him. But yeah, the match was alright. It felt like a TV match, like I said, for the most part, but a good TV match. Steve Macklin is always going to have put on a good match. It's never going to be bad. Sometimes it's not great. Sometimes it's just good. Just good. That's all you need sometimes. But yeah, I gave this match 3 stars. That might be a bit generous, but it was what it was. It was nothing special. We then had Spitfire, which is Danny Luna and Jody Threat, taking on Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and then also the personal concierge. So it's a 2-on-3, or a 3-on-2 handicap TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match. Now, basically, just to outline how this match went, because I'm not going to go into great detail about this match either, because this was one of the weaker matches on the card. Danny Luna was isolated at times by Ash and by Heather, but of course that didn't last long, because every time they tagged in the personal concierge, he was just outmuscled, or Danny Luna no-sold anything that he did. He was basically the crutch, or not the crutch, but he basically was costing Ash and Heather the match for most of the parts. But of course he came into helping them and being the advantage in the end of the match, but we'll get to that. But of course, Danny Luna and Jody Threat being dominant, being powerful as they always are, and some pretty decent tag team action between the two of them. The concierge then eats a pressure drop by Danny and Jody Luna, which actually has kind of caused a distraction, which allowed Ash and Heather to land a double stop on the back of Jody Threat and get the victory for this match. So we got new knockout tag team champions in Ash and Heather by Elegance. And post-match, this was really quick, like there was barely any time for them to celebrate. But post-match, the Meta Girls from NXT made an appearance, who are of course Chikara Jackson and Lash Legend. So that could be a pretty interesting match that's coming up soon. Maybe they even get the win, because I don't know, Ash and Heather by Elegance are good characters, but they seem like a weaker tag team that just got lucky in this match, if I'm being honest. We then went on to the match of the night. We had Mustafa Ali taking on Mike Santana. I'm going to do a bit more play-by-play in this match because I absolutely love this match. Mike Santana continues to be one of my favorites in TNA. So let's get into it. So Santana charges at Ali straight away to start the match, but Ali gets out the ring and, runs away from the situation. Ali then leapfrogs Santana early on, but gets caught and slammed by Santana. Ali then goes for a tornado DDT, but Santana catches him and lands a 3 amigos. So as you can see, Santana's got all the advantage early on here. But that is until Ali lands a 450 from the top rope to the outside while Santana has his arm stretched out on the apron. So Ali lands on the arm, hurting the arm. Ali then rolls up Santana in the ring, gets his foot on the ropes, but the referee sees us and stops the pin. We then get a rolling neckbreaker from Ali for a 2 count. Followed by a suicide dive attempt by Ali, which is caught into a cutter at ringside. That was absolutely fantastic. What a cool spot that was. I popped. I almost jumped out of my seat. Really, really cool spot that was, because the timing had to be spot on. And it was. We then get Ali landing multiple German suplexes, but he bridges the last one for a near fall on Santana. Ali then looks for the 450, but rolls through, and Santana charges at him, but eats a tornado DDT, and then Ali gets another near fall for that. Ali then misses with another 450 attempt, and lands, but then Santana lands the rolling buck 50 for a near fall, which he then follows up with a frog splash, but Ali bridges out. That was such a fantastic sequence that I just read out there. So good. I was loving this match at this point. Eventually, though, Tasha Steelz gets up onto the apron because she's at ringside. She slaps Santana, and this allows Ali to roll him up and then get the victory. The fact that he won by roll-up is encouraging because I was hoping Santana would really win this match and carry on his momentum, but it's clear that they're going to extend this for a little bit longer, and then Santana will eventually win the feud, and then hopefully go on to world title territory. This just further rubs salt in the wounds, or Ali just further rubbed salt in the wounds of Santana when he grabbed a beer at ringside from a fan and set it in the ring. And Santana obviously has spoken and been vocal about his addiction issues that he's had to overcome and get to where the point he is. Great pro wrestling match. Match of the night for sure. And hopefully Mike Santana continues to be the force that he is in TNA, because I am loving him right now. With that being said, Mustafa Ali is the winner and 4.25 stars for this match. We then move on into the Women's Knockouts World Championship match of the night. Marsha Slamovich versus TNA or NXT's Cora Jade. The match was okay. The match was alright. Nothing fantastic, nothing over the top. There was some cool moments in it, like Cora Jade landing a destroyer on the apron. That was pretty cool. Cora dominated most of the matches. Most of the match just grinding down on Marsha, getting the heat on her. But then Marsha eventually fought back with like some nice spinning heel kicks and some rolling heel kicks, really using her offense to the full capabilities in this match. But Cora landed the destroyer and then landed her jaded finisher, her DDT. But Marsha got the foot on the ropes, which ended up keeping Marsha in the match, of course, and breaking the pinfall. Eventually, though, we get a bit of a strike exchange with Marsha landing her spinning heel kick, which she then followed up with a pile driver to get the victory. The match was good, had some good work in it. Cora had some good heel work. She showed up and she had a good showing. This was one of her better matches, in my opinion. Well, not better matches, but in recent times, one of her better singles matches. The finish, unfortunately, fell a bit flat to me. I felt like it came out of nowhere, the pile driver, because it was straight from a strike exchange into the finish. 3.25 stars. I think if the finish was built up a little bit better, this could have been a much higher rated match, because it was not bad at all. So Cora Jade going back to NXT. Hopefully now she can start to push on there and get somewhere in that division. We then get Moose versus Jeff Hardy for the TNA X Division Championship in a ladder match. And I'm going to be honest with you guys about this match. It didn't feel like a ladder match to me. It just felt like an extreme match of some sort of hardcore match with a lot of ladders involved. So I'm just going to talk about a couple things, not go through the whole match. There was some big power bombs from Moose. He powerbombed Jeff Hardy through a bridged ladder at one point. That was a pretty cool moment. Jeff Hardy with a swanton bomb through from the top rope through Moose, who was lying on top of a table, so breaking through the table. That was a pretty cool moment. They tried to do some sort of spot on the bridge ladder where Moose stood on it, and then Jeff Hardy twister faded him off the bridge ladder, but it took too long because the ladder was so shaky. It didn't look that great, but it was alright nonetheless. Eventually, though, Jeff starts climbing to the top, but Alicia Edwards, who's at ringside for Moose, grabs a kendo stick, starts beating down on Jeff Hardy. Moose then comes in, spears Jeff Hardy through a leaning table that's in the corner, and then goes up and gets the title, claims the title for the victory. I just felt they didn't climb to the top and like tempt or tease that he's going to grab the title and then he might win. He's so close, and then he gets stopped. That didn't happen enough. Moose climbed once, and that was the time he won. That's the only time Moose climbed up the ladder. I thought that was a little bit disappointing, if I'm being honest. I still enjoyed the match. I still thought it was great. I do think it could have gone up into the 4-star rating if they teased the fact that this was a ladder match more. That's just my opinion. I gave the match 3.75 stars because I thought the work was great and they really put their body on the line for this match. They just needed to push home that this is a ladder match and this is how you win. That's all. 3.75 stars. And we then move into the main event, which is essentially, I felt this was TNA's version of a War Games match, and it was pretty good. So we had Elijah, Joe Hendry, Leon Slater, Matt Hardy, and Nick Nemeth taking on the Clones and the System. So basically, it's a normal match, normal ring, one ring, steel cage, a dodgy looking steel cage, I might add. Looked like they had to extend it on all 4 sides, but that's neither here nor there. And 2 men start in the match, and then like every 2 minutes, another couple men come in and they do their thing, and then more people come in. And eventually, once it's full, then the match begins. Kind of like War Games. So first into the match was Elijah and Eddie Edwards. They had some action with Elijah coming on top, but then Brian Myers came in and he gave the advantage to the heel team. Then Nick Nemeth came in. He evened it up before one of the Clones came in, and then they obviously took the advantage once again. Leon Slater then came in and evened it up, and he landed a nice top rope Hurricane Rana, which looked pretty cool. And then Eddie Colon comes in, and he gets the advantage for the heels once again. Matt Hardy then enters the ring, evening it up, landing a couple side effects, doing the Hardy stuff. And then JDC comes in, and then he gets the advantage for the heels once again. But lastly, Joe Hendry comes in, and the match begins. Joe Hendry lands fallaway slams to everybody, and then on the top rope, lands a fallaway slam to Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards sends Nemeth into the cage and lands a Blue Thunder Bomb for a near fall on Nick Nemeth. And then Ryan Nemeth comes out to ringside after he was told to just stay away from by Matt Hardy. Just don't get involved in anything. Clearly he did not listen, which we'll get into that. We then get a double suplex attempt by the system onto Leon Slater, but he pushes them off, climbs to the top of the cage, and lands a Swanton 450 onto all of the heels. Really, really cool moment that. JDC then gets atomic dropped on a standing chair, followed by a twist of fate with the chair like around him, and gets the victory. Matt Hardy then gets the victory for the babyface team. Elijah, Joe Hendry, Leon Slater, Matt Hardy, and Nick Nemeth are the winners. A really fun match. Like I said, it felt like TNA's version of War Games. Some cool spots, some cool moments. There was moments where the refs were like holding the cage back. It almost looked like this cage was just not built very well at all, but they were holding it back, holding it in. Luckily, nothing happened, nothing went wrong. And then after the match, during the celebration, everyone leaves except for Nick Nemeth and Matt Hardy, who are still celebrating. Ryan Nemeth comes in, locks the cage, and Nick Nemeth turns on Matt Hardy, and they both in the cage beating down on Matt Hardy. The faces can't get in because they have a chair which they used, which the heels used to knock off the guys who are trying to climb the cage. Yeah, Nick Nemeth turning heel. We're obviously going to get a Hardy Boys versus Nick and Ryan Nemeth run, where I think the Hardy Boys are going to lose their titles, unfortunately. Really good match. Decent show, like I said. Look, the outstanding match of the night was obviously Santana and Mustafa Ali. But we could have told you that before the show even started. The rest of the show, fairly average. Fairly average. Some lows, some highs. But nothing really disgustingly bad. Maybe their first match, but that's just not my cup of tea. Other people will really enjoy that. You guys let me know, what did you think of TNA Sacrifice? That was my match-by-match analysis and thoughts on the show. As a whole, TNA are really growing and really doing well and are grabbing people's attention, and it's great to see that they are rising to the top of the pro wrestling landscape once again, or to the top echelons with the other promotions. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.